All right, good evening, folks. Welcome to Monday Night Law here. What's this, May 6th, 2024. Cruising right along. 2024 is cruising right along, isn't it? We're getting there. Diesel D's, good to see you, brother. Wendy, good to see you. Corruption Detector, good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Leslie, good to see you as well. Oh, man. Want to lift my brother up. Corruption Detector out there dealing with weird full body paralysis. So all you prayer warriors out there, please lift him up in your prayers. He cannot figure out what is going on with him. So I'd greatly appreciate that. I'm sure he would too. So thank you to all those that do. And I just kind of want to put this out there. Next Monday will be no show. Monday night next week. Brother and I are going to go camping and doing some morel hunting. Should be some good pickings. We already went up once here just the other day and found a few. So they're starting to pop, and we're supposed to have some nice weather. We were going to go Thursday, but it's Mother's Day weekend, so we decided to push it off until Monday. So, Diesel D's, I have yet to cook any. I've just been introduced to them in the last few years, so I just, whatever I find, I give to my brother or some to my uncle, but I know I think they soak them in like saltwater milk or something like that, and then they just fry them up. So I think that's the way they do them. So Jax, good to see you out there on YouTube. But yeah, it's all about walking around, getting some exercise, and of course we're taking the dirt bikes and been working on the trailer because the trailer's been needing some work for a few years. But yeah, totally stripping it down, repainting, whole 9 yards, new board. Should be good for another 20 some years. Found the manufacturer date tag on the axle there, and it's a 12 of 2001. So it's 23 years old. Scrimshaw, good to see you. Just want to kind of put this out there again, just to let people know what's coming. And we were told this in the National Assembly call several months ago now, that was going to come a time that martial law is going to get declared and the corruption is going to be taken down, and it's going to be swift. Those states that have already basically done their paperwork and gone into interim, you'll come out of interim after martial law is declared, because government de facto is being taken down. And one of the biggest parts of it was when Trump did the involuntary bankruptcy in June of 2020 on the United States Inc., the corporation that was created during the Reconstruction Acts of 1871. Okay, we've been essentially under martial law since 1863 with the Lieber Code, General Order 100, the first executive order. And under that Reconstruction Acts, government was supposed to be providing these 19 essential governmental services until we, the people, reassemble government de jure. Okay? So, for those states that have not have not reassembled and gone interim, we'll be under martial law until we the people pull our head out of our asses and put this stuff together and reassemble government de jure. That's what's coming, folks. And I've been telling people this for quite some time. I mean, we can go clear back to December 20th of 2017 when Executive Order 13818 came out. And I told people then, blocking the property of those involved in serious human rights abuse and corruption. This is worldwide executive order. This is taking down everything. Bad governmental regimes, the deep state is what's most commonly referred to as the deep state, but it's the 13 families, the Committee of 300. Okay? This stuff has been in the works since then. There have been many of governmental regimes that have been taken down, new government instituted, elections held, and treaties of peace done. I'm going to say this again. How do you do a treaty of peace if we're not at war? You can't. So logically, reasonably speaking, we're at war. And that's what's happening. Now, some people out there talking about, oh, Trump's going to, our savior, and he's coming to save us. No, he's just doing his job and what the military had set in motion to begin with. And I'll go even clear back to 1964. There's a question out there on Facebook about Q. Q is a military clearance. It was created in 1964. That's how long this has been in the works. After the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Okay? This was the plan starting back then, if you remember, right? John F. Kennedy, in one of his most famous speeches there, was talking about these secret societies. Okay? And he was going to take them down. Okay? And that's why they assassinated him. So, this has been in the works for quite some time. And then the military did their 2 federal directives for continuity of government. One in 2016, one in 2017. There's a 7-year plan in there. We're coming up on that 7-year mark. And again, I'll say this, I'm not sure what the exact start date of the 7-year plan was. But again, my guess is December 20th, 2017, with Executive Order 13818. So by this December, that's 7 years. So we've only got a few months left before this plan is basically carried out to its fullest extent. And where there has been other nation states and countries, whatever, that has already been taken down, America is obviously going to be the last, but the whole banking system has been redone. We're now on what's called the quantum financial system. The SWIFT system has been, disavowed. It's been tossed to the side. It's been replaced with quantum financial system. So everything is instantaneous. And it's to get away from the international banking cartel, part of the deep state, right? Good old Alexander Hamilton was pushing that international banking crap way back when. So that, that's part of their plan. And like I've said before, these people play a serious generational long game, even going clear back to the Sestakay Trust Act of 1666. Okay, so this is the game that they play. Make no mistake, this has all been in a long train of abuses, little changes over time, and everything's been done with the Reconstruction Act stuff. This has all been orchestrated and perpetrated by the bar. those titles of nobility holders called esquire, and it is a fact that esquire is a title of nobility from the English crown. Okay, so trying to look at some of the comments here. Yeah, Jason, good to see you, brother, out here on YouTube. Talking about Mike Gill says that we're all nut jobs if we think Trump is still in charge. Well, let's just debunk that right there, because the fact is Trump's a wartime president, but commander-in-chief. Again, president and commander-in-chief are essentially two different statuses, two different offices. And even in the Law of Nations, it talks about this, and that's what's actually happened here. But for those that can remember, and those that don't, I'll remind you, Trump never conceded the election. Now, due process of law dictates that the incumbent has to file a writ of quo warranto. By what authority was Trump holding office? Okay, we have to understand that the sitting official has to officially sign off on it, and that smooth transition of power. Okay, but those that recall, one of our epic moments in history is when the military was activated, federalized, and 40,000 troops or plus were sent to Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, put up 3 layers of fencing and shut D.C. down. Okay, the fact is it's a freaking ghost town, folks. There's not hardly anybody in Washington, D.C. Now, there's plenty of people out there that peruse Washington, D.C. and do videos. Penguin 6 is one of them, and what was that other gal's name? And then found somebody the other day was been doing it too. And D.C. is a ghost town. It's a foreign occupied territory. That's right out of Law of Nations, as well as the Law of War Manual, which is essentially built off the Law of Nations. So, this is a military operation. It's right in our face. How some people are not aware of this, I don't know. It's 2024 now, and with everything that has happened, how do we not know what's really going on here? Now, those that are aware of realrawnews.com there, again, changed their disclaimer on there again. It is back to being something about being legitimate stuff, right? But it's supposed to be considered a satire. Now, that one particular judge out there in Georgia, I've been following along on the website and his so-called YouTube channel, which, first of all, the link to his live feed is broken on their website. Everybody else's works just fine. But I did a search and found his YouTube channel, just like everybody else has, for broadcasting the live court hearings. And he was in the middle of a jury trial. And when he made that ruling on Trump's case, and that day they, according to Real Raw News, he was arrested. He's yet to be seen since. Docket's been cleared. No cases scheduled in front of Scott McAfee. His YouTube channel has the last video that was on there was the trial that was scheduled in front of him, and they had a stand-in judge come in to finish the trial. Scott McAfee hasn't been seen since. And then they just put out the other day that he went through the military tribunal, was found guilty of treason and sentenced to hang. Remember when Trump said, quick trials? That's what's been going on for quite some time. I mean, why was Gitmo built up? Why did they build all them new facilities, thousands of beds, and then they're saying Gitmo's full? Full of who? Think about that, folks. It's all these tiny little pieces of the puzzle that we have to come across and put together, which is what I've been doing since 2017. And I've been trying to inform the general public here, the people, of what's been going on and what needs to get done. Here's a weird comment out here on YouTube. Have you tried using their own game, Law Merchant, against alleged officials with facts, notice of liability with notarial protest and administrative process? Now, we follow law, real law, law of the land, supreme law of the land, common law, due process of law. I've already put this executive order out there. I can't remember which one it is now. It's I can't remember. It was creating the task force on market integrity and consumer fraud. That got morphed. Finally, Congress put that in under the DOJ. Now there's a big showdown going on with the DOJ. But again, Trump is the commander in chief, and I've noticed a change in the DOJ a little bit, and I put those kinds of things out there. So, it's just a matter of time. And here's the thing, folks: we need to be focusing on what's directly in front of us, right in our own city. Try and deal with something that's happening directly in front of you. It's happening to you, and start suing these people. Okay, that's what Trump has been telling us. Yes, I know that the DOJ is corrupt. So is the FBI. So is the CIA. So is damn near every last little bit of continuity of government. But again, we are under a continuity of government. Wake up, people. What that means is a change. Okay? Texas v. White. The president, only acting as commander-in-chief, has the authority to set up provisional government pending the outcome of the war. United States, Inc. has been bankrupted. June of 2020, June of 2020. So, this continuity of government is all we have. Okay? That's what's been taken down and is slowly being taken out, the corruption. Drain the swamp. Time to clean up all them turds left on the land. Okay? Yes, I'm very well aware of how corrupt things were. But there's a new commander-in-chief in town. And again, continuity of government. This is provisional government right now, pending the outcome of war. Executive Order 13818. So these are based on executive orders, what I'm talking about, going through the DOJ, filing criminal complaints. Okay? Because that's what the commander-in-chief ordered to be done, to execute the law. Because that's what an executive order is from the executive branch, which is the commander-in-chief of the military or militia, to execute the law. That's what's going on. That's what's been going on since December 20th of 2017. So to sit there and say that, well, so-and-so is corrupt, or specifically DOJ, that doesn't change the fact of what we're supposed to be doing following due process of law and what the commander-in-chief has put in place for us to follow. That's not an excuse not to follow through. Plain and simple. Well, it's not a matter of trusting them, it's about doing it. Right? I could care less if you trust any of them. That's not an excuse not to do something. We cannot sit on our hands and bitch and complain about how corrupt things are and they're violating my rights and not do anything about it. It's time to start taking action, folks. It's time to get off our ass and file paperwork and follow due process of law and do something about this. Nothing's going to change if we don't do something about it. Actions. Okay, got Warhorse for Liberty over here on Telegram said he's got a friend of mine was just there talking about being in D.C. and confirmed it's empty. Richard Citizen journalist posts regularly. So there's another one. Okay. You know, here's the thing about that, blocking the property of those involved in serious human rights abuse and corruption. That's civil asset forfeiture. So I could care less if China supposedly, allegedly, bought property here in America. American soil will be returned to the American people. It will be a civil asset forfeiture. Believe me, America will belong to the people like it's supposed to. Well, here's what Pentagon removed Trump from commander-in-chief supposedly on January 6th, reported by News. I wouldn't trust them. That's mainstream media. Why would they even mention that? And why would why would the Pentagon remove Trump as commander-in-chief? That doesn't make any sense. There's your first couple of clues right there is a full of shit. And then who do the people believe at this point? Again, executive orders, the continuity of government with the two federal directives. I believe the military, the good guys in the military that was planning a coup against Obama, those are the ones that I believe. And like I've said before, I followed this stuff when it was coming out. And I put this stuff out for the American people in the whole world, anybody who's watching, live, right here. Back then it was pretty much just Facebook, on my Facebook page, and all of those videos are still there. Kirk's Law Corner LLC page on Facebook. You can go clear back to 2017 when I first started there, and watch them all and see. I told you, I laid this stuff out. Returning back to the common law. Taking down bad governmental regimes. Okay? That's what's happening. That's what's been happening. And it will continue to happen till it's cleaned up. That's the truth. That's the facts. Backed up by executive orders, proclamations, reestablishing the rule of law, those kinds of things. And now we're starting to see our federal court system starting to rule correctly on cases. Why are they citing from the laws of nature from Blackstone's commentaries on the law of England? Why are they citing the truth behind all these rights and shutting stuff down, declaring stuff unlawful and unconstitutional. Why aren't people paying attention to that? The change. This is one reason why Trump said somebody ought to sue these people. The other part of this is Biden was executed. Now, I'll give credit where credit's due there on that one. Derek Johnson, laid that out there. But I remember seeing some of that stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right here. And then I found, video footage of a guy going back and forth outside of like a motel room right across from the Rose Garden there, where they typically do where they do the inaugurations. And, it was on a balcony, and there was a couple of really huge tripod cameras out there, professional grade, like mainstream media type cameras, pointed over there. And he was showing on the TV that the inauguration was going on, and he'd walk outside, zoom in over there, and there's nobody there. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then the so-called procession there, where the military had their backs turned to them, and none of them were paying attention. None of that was going on, right? They weren't given any respect, which is a sign of dishonor in the military. And Derek Johnson pointed that out with the 3-cannon salute and the way it was done, that signifies from military law that is a funeral. And then somebody here recently went over to Arlington Cemetery and found Joseph R. Biden's tombstone. So, who do you believe? Sure in the hell isn't the fake so-called Joseph R. Biden out there. It's all just a show, folks. It's all being played out. A lot of it's CGI. Okay? Green screens, actors, or just straight up CGI. It's all choreographed. All done on a computer. I mean, a lot of movies that have recently come out in the last, 10 plus years, a lot of it's just CGI. I mean, they've had this technology for 20 some years. So, how do we not apply that to what's going on today? Yeah, there we go. There's another little one there of the pictures of the inauguration had clear and sunny pictures, but it was overcast and cold. Right. Yeah, it was not a clear and sunny day, and then there was the other things like the video of the woman in the white coat who just kind of disappears when the camera angle changes. Okay, there's all these little things out there. If you're paying attention and going through this stuff with a fine-tooth comb, it should raise a significant amount of question and questionability of the truth and the veracity of whether there really was an inauguration, which there wasn't. So that leaves Trump in charge of the military, and we don't have a president. There's no such thing as a president. Because we're under a continuity government. We're at war. Okay? Right? Absolutely. Comment out here on Telegram. Masks are incredibly lifelike these days. Absolutely. And that information's being leaked out. I mean, it's the information highway out there, folks. With a few clicks on the keyboard and clickety click 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 and doing some searches and stuff, you can find this stuff. It's not uncommon these days. Of course, it's not going to be in mainstream media. But even then, there is some people out there that have hinted and talked about certain satanic ritual stuff and their pedophilia stuff and adrenochrome stuff. Okay? So it's not like it's not out there. But you have to pay attention. You have to open your eyes and shut your mouth and listen with your ears. Pay attention. Listen. Now, there is some stuff like, the whole thing with P. Diddy, more of child pedophilia stuff. Okay? So there's a little bit of leaked information through mainstream media, but even then, they don't really cover too much of that. Of course not. So, it's... there you go again. Jax out here on YouTube says she just watched Nancy Pelosi in 1992 speaking on Agenda 2021. That's when all that stuff started coming around and starting to kick it off mid 1990s there. Thank you, Jay, out here on Rumble. Yeah. Another comment out here just popped up on Rumble. Hello from Washington State. Hello back to you. There's a change coming and coming very soon. Washington has so many candidates for our next election. It's almost unbelievable. So happy. Well, I'm going to remind people that here in Idaho, we had a 51% changeover in our Idaho legislature in the last election cycle. 51% changeover. Let me say that again. 51%. It's the most we've ever had in the state of Idaho. I wonder why that is. Just saying, you got to pay attention to some of this stuff, right? Yeah. Here's another comment out here on YouTube. Shannon Emerson. The fact that they have factories full of lifelike bodies of random people is spooky too. Like false flag stuff, fake bodies, easier to explain than real dead people with families. The world is a stage. Absolutely. Randy Lutz on YouTube. Bringing a lawsuit is expensive. How can a retiree afford that? Well, if you're talking like a Title 42 1983, it's $400 for filing fee. But more specifically, petitions to the legislature or Congress don't cost anything. See, our right to petition the legislature, the legislative branch, not the judicial branch, for the redress of grievances. See, the legislative branch has the power to do investigations. Everybody seems to think it's supposed to be the executive branch that does the investigations, when in reality it's supposed to be the legislative branch that does investigations. Furthermore, it's actually supposed to be the grand jury. Yep. So, again, this is something that Chris and I was teaching starting clear back in 2017 about the right to petition the legislature, the legislative branch, for the redress of grievances. That's the common law. Our rights are the law. Our rights dictate that process from the common law. So this is why we need to be learning, reading. And I don't know if Tammy from Indiana is out here anywhere. I don't see any making any comments here, but I wanted to do a shout out to you for your comments on the National Assembly calls over the last few months, and specifically the one this last week. Thank you very much for your kind words over there, and it's true. And I love what you said you were doing there, and I'd actually like to get a hold of you. So try to reach out to me somewhere here. See if we can find each other. But talking about reading the Law of Nations and reading Lex Parliamentary Americana, which is the law and practice of the legislative assemblies of the United States of America. That's this book right here. It's on my website. It's in PDF on my website. Okay? This is the law right here. Common law. The whole book, Lex Parliamentary Americana, right? Elements of the law and practice of legislative assemblies of the United States of America. This is the book that has the law in it. And what powers belong in the legislative assembly. And we need to be learning this, especially the people, right? Because all political power is inherent in the people, not state nationals, not American state nationals. All political power is inherent in the people. And this is the law. We're going to have to follow this due process of law. Not all the shit made up by the bar members, like Mason's Manual of Legislative Procedure, which subverts Lex Parliamentary Americana. But yet, Mason's Manual, damn near on every single page, cites references, says cushion. Cushion. Well, that's Luther Stern Cushion. That's Lex Parliamentary Americana. So it's a subversion of Lex Parliamentary Americana. Same thing with Robert's rules and Reed's. Again, parliamentary practice comes from the common law, and this is the only real book. This one, Lex Parliamentary Americana. That's the real book on the law. All the rest of them are about, essentially, rules of procedure. Doesn't actually have law stuff in there, how the legislature is supposed to function. Kind of like Blackstone's commentaries on the law of England. Boy, does he lay out some really good stuff in there. I've been reading from that for a little bit now, and I've showed quite a bit of it here on the show, but you know, comment over here on Telegram. Just watched the Judicial House Committee titled "The Reining In of the Administrative State," but don't know what to do with the info. Well, I don't know. Can you post a link in here to it? Post it in the chat here. But again, yeah, that's that administrative state. You know, Administrative Procedures Act, all presented by the bar in 1956, I think it was. You know, that's I think it was Rod Class. Was talking to Rod Class about this stuff and sent me the actual congressional acts on it. And yeah, straight up, just the bar. The bar is the one that orchestrated it, put it all together, proposed it to Congress, and said, "Oh yeah, this is a better way to you know, administer justice." What's wrong with the common law? Oh, because the common law requires, you know, an actual injured party, and you know, it takes the power away from government and puts it in the people's hands. You know, that those kinds of things. You know, which is why Roman civil law was implemented, the code, which I just looked that up here a little bit ago. When was the code created? I want to say it was 1870. 8. Let's see. 1873. First codification of U.S. law. Yep. There you have it, right there. Gee, right after 1871. So, again, you know, this code is Roman civil law. Doesn't belong here. Now look at that here. A commission, so more bar members established to revise and codify criminal and judicial laws of U.S. Act of June 4th, 1897. Where in the hell in the Constitution does it say they have the authority, first of all, to create some sort of commission to revise and codify criminal and judicial laws of the U.S.? They don't. That's because we're supposed to be going by the common law. You know, the thing is that this is what needs to change, what needs to happen. This reverting back to common law. And that's what's happening. Well, Leslie out here on Telegram, reading Blackstone's commentaries on the law of England, the origin of the common law was by the Saxons, which were the Christian Protestants, is maxims of law and customs. That's what the common law is, the common sense law, or rights that we have in common. But even Blackstone talks about that the common law is the common sense law. That's what maxims of law are. They're fundamentals of principle or rule of law. It rules over the law. So, like one of my favorite ones is, what I cannot do in my person, I cannot do through the agency of another. Well, that should be common sense. Well, if I can't do it, then I can't get somebody else to do it for me. And again, fundamentally and principally, because of that maxim of law, we the people cannot delegate a power that we do not possess ourselves first. So always ask yourself this question when any so-called public servant out there, any of them, well, can I do that? If the answer is no, then it's completely unlawful. Because if we can't do it, they can't do it. It would be completely illogical based on the maxim of law. If I can't do it, I can't get somebody else to do it for me. Nobody else can do it. Okay? So, plain and simple. And then a couple of my ultimate favorites is the first one is ignorance of the law is no excuse, and to know a thing and to be bound to know it are regarded in law as equivalent. That's them public servants, which are the citizens, pursuant to law of nations, which everything was written off of and from the law of nations, written by Emer D. Vattel. Book 1, Chapter 19, subsection 212. Citizen is a member of a civil society who is bound to perform certain duties and subject to its authority. Article 6, Clause 3 mentions the word members, legislative, executive, and judicial branch, both state and federal, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, which makes them subject to the authority of the people. Because again, all political power is inherent in the people. Of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's our republic. So, they are the citizens. Public servants are citizens. We, the people, are the people. And then we have inhabitants. It's all laid out in Law of Nations. The state, legitimately speaking, lawfully speaking, Law of Nations speaking, is the people, the sovereign body politic. The people are sovereign, which means the power to create. Well, that's right. All political power is inherent in the people. We have the right to alter, reform, or abolish anything and any time we deem it necessary. So that just totally debunks this whole sovereign citizen crap. We're sovereign people. Citizens are city servants, civil servants. That's them. Again, Book 1, Chapter 19, subsection 212, and Section 213 talks about the inhabitants. And it also does talk about a different kind of citizen. That wouldn't be essentially a proper noun, like Section 212 talks about as a citizen, with a capital C, in propria persona, in their proper person as governor, lieutenant governor, as legislator, whether in the House of Representatives or the Senate, whether they're representatives or senators, sheriffs, okay, judges, all of them. They are the citizens. They're the members of the legislative, executive, or judicial branch who shall, that's mandatory, be bound by the Constitution. So this is part of the problem we have is with the Reconstruction Acts and stuff. There is no valid oath of office. It's all government de facto. And even then, all of the Reconstruction Acts have all been made void. So, again, this stuff it's slowly being taken down, folks. It's just a matter of time. But we, the people, need to be prepared to, we're supposed to be, again, all political power is inherent in the people. Where are the people? We have to reassemble government de jure, folks. There is no other way around this. It has to be done lawfully, this way. One way, and one way only. There is no other way. Because due process of law dictates this process, step by step, how it's supposed to be done. Plain and simple. Right? Good to see you, Mark, out here on YouTube. But most state constitutions, it'll be Article 1, which is a Declaration of Rights that talks about all political power. All of it. Every last bit of power belongs to the people. That's our republic. Republic is by the people. Of the people, by the people, for the people. So, back to Trump's inauguration speech. What did he say? Right from the get-go. I am putting the power back into the people's hands. I don't get what people don't understand about that. What power do you think he's referring to? All political power. All of it. Now, in order to claim and exercise that, we have to reassemble the people. And there's documents that have to be done. It's just a matter of time and getting the people to come together. United we will prevail, but divided we will fail. So what's it going to be, folks? Who's willing to pledge their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor? Because that's what that is. There is a covenant and an oath. Now I'll explain this. The covenant is between man and God to uphold God's law. That's a promise, a covenant to God. And then the oath, maxim of law. Again, maxim of law. There is no firmer bond among men. That's even in the Bible. Imagine that. Maxims of law coming straight from the Bible. God's words. There is no firmer bond among men than an oath. So this is why it's required to have an oath of office pursuant to Article 6, Clause 3. No matter if you're elected or appointed in a position of public trust, if you're a member of the legislative branch, executive branch, or judicial branch, either state or federal, you shall be bound by oath. For that reason, because the maxim of law creates that bond among men. Okay? That's the reason behind that. That's what has to be done, because that's you're pledging your lives, your fortunes, and your sacred honor with that covenant and oath. And now you want to talk about properly changing your status. That's the document that does that. But it changes your status to one of the people. There's no other fancy paperwork that needs to be done. That's it. A covenant and an oath. Now, granted, there is other fancy paperwork that needs to be done for declaring government de jure in a territory and reclaiming, right? Reclaiming being self-governed, governed by the people themselves. Our true republic. So, it's up to us to do it. We have to come together and do that. It ain't going to just magically happen. The people are going to have to come together and do this. And essentially you go from basically an inhabitant to one of the people. When you do that covenant and oath. So that's how that works. All this other stuff about correcting your status and changing your status to an American state national per the United States Code, huh? I don't get how these people don't even, I just ask them the simple question: can you cite the law that says that? Most of them can't even cite anything. They have no clue. Just blows my mind. How do you jump into this seriousness kind of stuff and not know anything? You have no idea what the law is, and you can't even cite the law referencing, well, I'm an American state national. Oh yeah? Where? Where's that come from? What body of law is that from? Why doesn't it say all political power is inherent in the American state nationals? Why does it say all political power is inherent in the people? I'm thinking I want my status as one of the people. Ones that have political power. Pursuant to the law of nations. The sovereign body politic. Yeah. That's the status I want. No other status. Right, Leslie? Changing your status makes as much sense as changing your gender. Well, it's not gender, it's sex. But, yeah. Well, again, over here on Telegram, somebody was saying that they've just been sworn in and took the oath in Missouri, 11 of 23. But the thing is we don't recognize the corporation, just the common law. Thing is you're not fully de jure, you're not fully reassembled until all the counties are done, and you're just in interim. Granted, it definitely is the first step that has to be done. We need them 35 people from each state to go into the room with a couple select few and do all this paperwork that has to be done and then published. See, this is done on an international stage. It's actually per the law of nations how this is done. And the common law. So, we need to be doing that. Is there a particular language or an outline for drafting those oaths, etc.? Oh, absolutely. But you need to be a part of essentially your state assembly. Right? You got to be you have to become one of the people. So, get on the National Assembly, national-assembly.net website. Go to well, here, let me just pull that up really quick so people can see it. All right. Go into this is national-assembly.net. Forums and blog. Go to the National Assembly forums. Then you're going to go down here. Where's the state? There we go. The 50 nation states. Every single state is listed here. Out here on Rumble, is this what David Lester Strait refers to in getting your republics up and running? Yeah, but David Lester Strait's all about the Anna Von rights and becoming an American state national. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But this is the legitimate one, and I've been in this for quite some time, folks. On this particular arena of things, I've been looking for this since 2014 when I found Carl Miller. Now, Carl Miller was part of this. In fact, he lived with Destry for a couple of years. Out of Michigan. Okay? Michigan was the first one to do all this. And Michigan is the one that hosts this, essentially, National Assembly, which is an education call on Thursday nights. I mean, they're still doing the business side of things, but this is mainly about education, trying to get people to come together, to reorganize. So, this is new information to you. These are the legitimate guys. Okay? The only ones. These guys have the support of the military, and over the years I've found several different ones, and one of the questions that I always ask is, do you have the support of the military? And the answer is always no, with the exception of these guys. Okay? This is where that letting us know about the martial law's coming. So, anyways, right here, again, under the 50 nation states, in the forum section, find your state, go in there and do See, you got Alabama. You could even just click on just the Alabama. Then you have Alabama introductions. You could come here and say, hey, I'm from Alabama, blah, 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 blah. I'm looking for the coordinator or whoever. Who do I need to get in contact with the people from Alabama? Okay. Then you have the Alabama general chat, which doesn't look like too much of anything going. Got state coordinator going on in there, and that looks like January 6th of 2023 was the last post in there. So something's going on there in Alabama. But this is where to come look. And then that's the best place to start. Okay. Post in there, that kind of stuff to try and find your people there. Oh, we'll go back. The main one is the conference call info. This tab right here. This will get you the information for the Thursday night call every Thursday evening. 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. For those that want to figure out how to download this stuff on their smartphones, here's a YouTube channel. You can download and install the free conference call app. It's an application. Okay? But here's a video on how to do that. This one is for desktop computers. So desktops, laptops, those kinds of things. There's a YouTube video for that. Again, I'll reiterate this again. I highly recommend people go download and install the app. It's free. Free conference call. Okay? Whether it's on your phone, whether it's on your desktop, your laptop, whatever. Okay? And then right here, join the online meeting. There's a link right there. So, after you install the app, you don't even have to wait till Thursday. You could just come to here, click on this, and it'll be saved in your app. Every single time. Okay? Highly recommend doing that. And then make sure that you keep yourself muted unless you're going to speak. I don't get how every frickin' Thursday we got people that make all sorts of noise in the background and unmute themselves, and I don't know what's going on there. Why people can't keep themselves muted when they're not talking. I mean, I get accidents once in a while. I get that. But now, there's also, if you just flat out don't have any, you don't have a smartphone, and you don't have a desktop, a laptop, anything like that, then sure, by all means, use your phone to call in. Now, certain carriers will charge a fee per minute to use that phone number. T-Mobile, Metro PCS, Yeah, 1 cent per minute. Backup number instructions. Dial backup number. Here's the backup number. You will now be prompted to dial the original dial-in number. You'll now be prompted to enter the access code. I don't know what the access code is, but here's the other number. So I guess you dial that number and then you dial that number. I don't know. That's what I'm getting here. So note that only users experiencing issues connecting should use the backup number. But again, I'm going to reiterate this. Is download and install the app. It makes it so much easier. Not only that, but when they're doing the educational part, and when Bill or Oscar or myself are doing a presentation, you'll actually be able to see it on the screen. So, hopefully people get that, understand this, comprehend it. Download and install the app, folks. Plain and simple. Keep it simple. Okay? And then, of course, there's always the resource tab here, and there's all sorts of goodies in there, what our current situation is. Where are we, the people? Yeah, where are you? Declaration of Independence. People are more destined to suffer than right themselves. Right? But is that where we're at? People are just rather sit around and just suffer. Okay? Hopefully that'll bring some people there. On the last resort, over here on the Contact Us, should be Content Manager 1. Send an email. Say, hey, I'm from such and such territory, state, whatever. I'd like to get in contact with whoever's in charge over there. And they'll respond. They'll get you connected. Okay? But make no mistake, people are being vetted. We got a lot of corruption people out there. Especially the Anna Von Reitz and David Straight crew people who seem to think that correcting their status to an American state national, well, once you start doing that paperwork, you can't become one of the people if you're binding yourself to the defunct bankrupt corporation under the Vatican, because that's what that's doing. It's not one of the people. I mean, it's in the name. Thank you, Leslie, for putting that link out there. Cryptic Gamer out there. Yeah. We need 38 states completely assembled, and you know, which includes all of the counties and all that. And then we can have a constitutional convention, right? Because you can't have a convention of states if you're not de jure. If it's not government de jure, it ain't a legitimate convention of states. It's all de facto. But again, you know, quit trying to jump the gun. Let's get 38 states reassembled. That's the number one priority. All right, nice. See, there we go. People making connections right here on Telegram right now. Good job, you guys. Good job, Leslie and TLM. You know, this stuff isn't going to assemble itself. It's going to take some effort. And again, just like our founder said, pledging our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. And that's to each other and to mankind. Because that's that covenant with God to uphold God's law. And the oath, which again is no firmer bond among men than an oath. The oath is to the people. The covenant is to God. That's how that works. And that's the reason behind that. That's how we do that. Been done that way for a long time. So, yeah, where are the people, folks? Why does that keep doing that? Yeah, good. Need more and more and more people. You know, if you're in Idaho, Idaho de jure at protonmail.com. I'm the coordinator for Idaho, and man, I tell you what, I don't know what's going on here in Idaho, but for many, many, many years, we can't bring unity on anything. It's funny how they have the people's rights things, but I've gone to a couple of them and I try to explain to them what's going on and, you know, what I'm working on and that kind of stuff, and just don't want to listen. I don't, you know, I don't know what. I think it's just going to have to happen in a particular way, where martial law is declared. They see the military force, and the military comes in and tells them, look, you need to reassemble your government de jure in order to get out of martial law. Because the people are derelict in their duty. Don't blame it on anybody else. It's our own damn fault. Again, all political power is inherent in the people. Where are the people? Without the people, we have no power. We don't have legitimate government. Yeah, I still haven't seen Tammy anywhere from Indiana. Good to see you, Sean. Slacker, running late, huh? Probably busy, right? Right? Comment out here on TV. Isn't that the Republic? Yeah. Republic by the people. Of the people, by the people, for the people. And not the democracy. We're not a democracy. We're supposed to be a republic where we, the people, have all political power. We're supposed to be self-governed. We don't have kings. We don't have titles of nobility. We're not supposed to. Yep. I don't know about that, Sean. 35-year-old men consider video games more important than assembling. I don't know. Like I said, it may actually come down to that. That martial law just has to be declared, and people are just going to have to deal with it. Comment out here on Rumble. I was going to say RooTube. Rumble. Cattaraugus County in New York is known to be a constitutional county. Does that mean they're assembled in their county? No, you have to assemble the state first, because you got to have the state before you can have a county within a state. And I'm pretty damn sure there's no such thing as a constitutional county. Because again, this comes from the common law. The people create the Constitution. The people come before the Constitution. That's what it's meant by all political powers inherent in the people, having the right to alter, reform, or abolish anything at any time we deem it necessary. This is the common law side of our republic. Comes before the Constitution. Comment out here on YouTube, Ladybug Cab. Thank you for sharing the A091 process. We have tried it, and it is working for us. We mailed it to the U.S. Attorney General, and the Wisconsin Attorney General, TIGTA, and the judge recused himself, or herself. Herself. Yeah, imagine that. Just little things like that. Again, dealing with stuff that's directly right in front of us. You know, filing that criminal complaint. Doing petitions to the legislature, demanding an investigation. And see, the criminal complaint goes to the executive branch, not the judicial branch. Watch the videos. Listen carefully. I get people saying, oh, I went down to the court and tried to talk to a judge. I'm like, where did I tell you to talk to a judge? Where did I say due process of law says go talk to a judge? No, the executive order set up that task force under the executive branch, and now that Congress dealt with that executive order, it is under the DOJ. That's part of that continuity of government. Trump setting up provisional government pending the outcome of the war. Make no mistake, it's there. It is happening. And I've had a couple of other people that have made similar comments like that. Well, again, a lot of stuff is it's still government de facto, but we have that continuity of government. Oh, wow. Okay. Ladybug Cab out here says that 5 judges have been removed. 5. So this isn't just a one-time thing. This is a 5-time thing. So it seems to be working for somebody who's taking action and doing it. Instead of sitting around bitching and complaining, somebody who's taking action. Thank you. God bless you. I'm glad somebody's actually doing it. I've had a few other people that now have done pretty much the same thing. And have had similar effects. A judge removed, prosecuting attorney removed from the case. Had case being vacated. Strange things happening when an A091 gets filed. Yep. So it's shit made up over there in New York. Yep, absolutely. I'm not aware of a legitimate assembly over there. And for damn sure, not a county assembly. Because, again, how do you have a county within a state if you don't have the state? State level has to be done first. Then you do the counties. Because all of the counties make up the state, right? So, gotta have the state, which makes the counties, and then you have to reassemble the counties. Telegram, what is an A091? That is a criminal complaint form that goes to the federal district deputy attorney general. That's the executive branch. This is, again, in part what Trump did, created the task force on market integrity and consumer fraud, emoluments violations. But yeah, I've got videos out there on that. I've laid this all out already. How to do the criminal complaint, how to fill out the form, how to look it up, look up your district, where the crime happened. Again, due process of law, right straight from the Constitution. So, in the district previously ascertained by law, you have to file the criminal complaint in the district where the crime happened. Yep. All right. Yeah, I don't listen to anything out there from Bonds for the Win. They've had actually absolutely zero success in their Bonds for the Win. I've asked Mickey Klon for any evidence of that and haven't heard anything back. Haven't heard anything from anybody. Replying to your comment out here on Rumble. A091 form universally in all states. This is a federal criminal complaint form from uscourts.gov. Form A091 is the criminal complaint form. Again, A091 is criminal complaint. Bivens is for federal actors under Title 42, 1983. That is civil. The A091 is criminal. Yeah, it's, there is a difference between criminal complaint, A091, and a Title 42, 1983 civil rights violations. If you read Title 42, 1983, which I just showed this the other day, that it's a suit at law, which is at common law, for rights violations. On the document template at uscourts.gov for civil rights violations is a Title 42, 1983, or Bivens, for federal actors, but for state, whatever, it's acting under color of law. And it lists in there, in 1983, color of statute, regulation, ordinances. See? That's all color of law. Statutes, even if they were legitimate statutes, is still color of law. Because it's made up by the legislative branch. So, how is color of statute color of law? Oh, but the code is the law. No, the code is Roman civil law, and it doesn't belong in our republic. It doesn't belong here. Period. Plain and simple. Foreign to our form of government, unacknowledged by our law, and subjecting us to pretended acts of legislation. It's in the Declaration of Independence. Subjecting us to a jurisdiction foreign to our form of government. That's because Roman civil law is part of a fundamental law, just like the feudal law is a fundamental law, just like common law is a fundamental law. But it's in the name, Roman civil law. That's where they talk about civil rights. No, we have God-given natural rights from the laws of nature. And we have political rights, which belong to the people. Not everybody is one of the people. We have inhabitants, we have people, and we have citizens. Citizens are the elected officials, or appointed into a position of public trust under the legislative, executive, judicial branch, either state or federal. Period. Okay? Actually, no. Canon law is part of Roman civil law. It's all code. Yep. All their judicial canons and all that stuff. I mean, think about it, folks. Why are they wearing a black robe? Signs. That's from the Roman Catholic Church, the Black Pope. The black robe. Enforcing Roman civil law, the code. Here's your sign. Yeah, it's all part of Roman civil law. Same thing with like their code of ethics for their bar members. Professional code of conduct, code. Okay, it's all part of the bar shit made up. But see, that's the thing about the common law. See, the common law is ruthless. Make no mistake. But they have no control over it. And it applies equally to all. Gee, what is Article the 7th of the original Bill of Rights? Not 7th Amendment. They are articles in addition to an amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America. That's what it says on the original Bill of Rights. Anyways, Article the 7th says suits at common law, exceeding the value of $20, the right to a trial by a jury shall remain preserved. And no fact tried by a jury shall otherwise be re-examined in any courts of the United States except for pursuant to the rules of the common law. So how is the common law not a separate body of law? And don't you think it's supposed to have a common law court that are not courts of the United States? Because no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any courts of the United States, except for pursuant to the rules of the common law. Yeah, that would be them writs, like a writ of review subverted by writ of certiorari. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Comment out here. Somebody else figured it out too. No remedy with bonds for the win. They found out though that all bonds are blanket bonds, and only treasurers can bring an action against government employees. The fact is you can't go after their bonds because again, it's essentially an insurance. It's for accidents. It's not for willful misconduct. Yeah. Screw that administrative. Well, question out here. How can I appear in propria persona sui juris? Well, that's two different statuses, by the way. In propria persona is in your proper person, which proper person is an elected official or appointed in a position of public trust, having some sort of title, like governor, sheriff, sheriff deputy. Okay, that's in their proper person, not man. Sui juris, man is sui juris, of lawful age, of sound mind, and perfectly capable of handling our administrative duties. Don't be confused with administrative duties as administrative procedure. In that sense, administrative duties is paperwork. So you can't. But it's called a notice of appearance. Or if you're in a court case, it's notice of special appearance to object to the personal jurisdiction. Okay? Right out of the frickin' rules of the common law. You have to inform the other parties how you are appearing, what your status is. Sui juris, of lawful age, of sound mind, and perfectly capable of handling your administrative duties if you're going to claim sui juris. You better be prepared to follow due process of law. And the first fundamental principle of due process of law is notice and opportunity. You have to give notice. Plain and simple. And like what I teach people out here is if you've got a court case going on, that's great. Okay? Do the paperwork. I don't care if they're not following due process of law. I don't care if they're denying everything that you file. It's creating the record. The record becomes evidence that you or I followed due process of law, even though they didn't. And it creates the record for when you appeal, as well as file your Title 4293, as well as your criminal complaint, as well as your petition to Congress or state legislature for the redress of grievances demanding an investigation. That becomes the evidence of their corruption. Okay? But this is all done in writing. That's perform administrative duties. Don't claim you're sui juris if you don't do the paperwork. You might be of lawful age. You might claim to be of sound mind. But you're not perfectly capable of handling your administrative duties, which is doing the paperwork, giving notice, following rules of procedure. But it starts in the very beginning of whatever case you have. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. This is the thing is hiring these members of the bar and expecting them to do something for us. They all practice Roman civil law, the code. They can't do common law. They can't do Constitution. They can't do supreme law of the land. They can't do rights as the law. They play like they can in certain instances. But no, we have to do this ourselves. Period. Again, back to one of my all-time favorite maxims of law. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Yeah. Well, they haven't sealed my case. They haven't sealed anything in my case, which is now on appeal. It's going to get quite interesting here in Idaho once I file all this stuff here in the appellate court and the constitutional challenges. It's going to get quite interesting, let me tell you. All right. But, that's the thing about all this, being sui juris of lawful age, of sound mind, and perfectly capable of handling your administrative duties. In part, what, I've put that little piece together, what Trump was talking about, suing these people. When you get a case, now you have standing, okay? When your rights have been violated, now you have standing. But the thing is doing these constitutional challenges. That's the key. Because the Supreme Court, once it gets all the way up there, all the states, they're all corrupt. There isn't, technically speaking, there isn't any one state that's more corrupt than the other, because it's all Roman civil law, the code. It's all ran by the bar. It's the same shit everywhere. Everywhere. Okay? So, that's the key to some of this stuff, and that's what's actually been going on. So, but it's coming. Make no mistake. But plain and simple, squeaky wheel gets the grease. It doesn't do any good to sit around and bitch and complain about stuff and not do anything about it. Alright, so here's my plug for my website, kirkslawcorner.com. Now, if you're in the upper left-hand corner is links to my social media stuff, and then a Patreon here. So you got Facebook, Telegram, Patreon, YouTube, Rumble, and X, which these 5 places right now, we are live on all 5 of those platforms. Okay? And those out there that are looking for help, that's done through my Patreon. Okay? The YouTube channel has my free educational series out here, right here on the website. You can go watch on YouTube. In fact, I'll just go open that in a new tab so it doesn't change anything. That'll take you to episode 1. Okay? And then, after you watch episode whatever, it may come up here. See? Episode 2 of 8. But more specifically, you can go right here. Just click on the link to my channel. Right here where it says playlists. And oh, by the way, I've got the Red Beckman's playlist. I found those. Right here, educational series. View full playlist. There you go. Now, like I said, I've added a few videos in here. The right to petition the legislature for the redress of grievances. Declaration of Independence, Law of Nations, the Laws of Nature. From the Law of Nations, Part 1 and Part 2. And then, highly recommend people watching this 2-hour, 39-minute video. Okay, the gray state. But there's the free educational series right there. Okay, there's been plenty of people that have gone through these with a fine-tooth comb and taken notes and followed along. And many people say it's good stuff. I think it's good stuff. It's been out there over 4 years ago. I put these out here. Okay? Now, the other thing is over here, the library. Some of the stuff I talk about in the educational series is right here. A Treatise on Arrest and False Imprisonment by Charles Wiseman. The Authority of Law. This has to do with the legislative branch and how real statutes are supposed to be done. Then there's the Law of Nations. Then there's the report of the Commission on Unalienable Rights. Then here's that Lex Parliamentary Americana, Elements of the Law and Practice of the Legislative Assemblies of the United States of America, Luther Stearns Cushion. Right there. 2010, Mason's Manual of Legislative Procedure. And you got Jefferson's Manual. And then an older version's a 1953 version of Mason's Manual of Legislative Procedure. Want to study on the Constitution? Here you go. Commentaries on the Constitution of the United States with the preliminary review, blah, 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 by Joseph Story. Part 1, 2, and 3. All 3 volumes. Okay? Then down here, Bouvet's Law Dictionary, 1856. First one. Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. And there we go. Here's a collection of maxims of law. Okay? And then this links tab, that has all the same stuff to get to Patreon, what have you. It's all the same link stuff is what's up here, but it just got put up. So you can click on the P to get to the Patreon. Or this down here, Wednesday night workshop. If you're looking for anything like one-on-one type stuff, that is Tier 4. Tier 3 gets you into the Wednesday night workshops. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 1's $5 a month. Tier 2 is $10 a month. It's just a donation, essentially, is the way I have that set up. Okay? And that's what I'm here doing right now for free. Okay? That's what you get, and what little bit that I post on Patreon. Okay? Most of it's right here, and I highly recommend you join the Telegram channel because I put a lot of stuff out on my Telegram channel. Okay? All right, folks. I hope people enjoyed the show here tonight. And oh yeah, I was going to say anybody who wanted to do donations through the snail mail over to the office, being as they took down my Cash App and PayPal and all that stuff a long time ago, send that over to the office. That the address is there on the website, kirkslawcorner.com. 6477 West Fairview Avenue, Suite G as in golf, G as in golf. And Boise, Idaho 83704. Again, the address is there on the website. Want to thank those of you that have sent donations to the mail. Thank you very much. I want to thank all those patrons on Patreon. Greatly appreciate you. Yeah, that's for one-on-ones is tier 4, and then tier 3 is just for Wednesday night workshop. All right. Well, I hope everybody has a wonderful Mother's Day coming up this next Sunday, which I remind people I will not be here next Monday. I'll be gone camping, fishing, morel hunting, dirt biking. Go have some fun. I've been kind of watching the weather. It's supposed to be nice. So, going to get out there and enjoy a little bit of the outdoors and get some more two-wheel therapy in, dirt bike style. But we'll see. There won't be a Wednesday night workshop either next week. Just so everybody's aware, we're going to be gone probably till Friday. We're going to take off Monday, come back Friday. But this Wednesday night, there will be. Okay? So we'll see everybody for Wednesday night workshop on Patreon that's already signed up there. Scrimshaw, I sent you a message. I haven't seen you on there. But, yeah. Happy Mother's Day, early Mother's Day to those mothers out there, grandmothers, grandmoms. God bless America. God bless the world. We need it. And again, prayer warriors, please pray for our safety, our happiness, and our military service members, our U.S. Marshals, Border Patrol people, all those kinds of people that are putting their lives in harm's way to try to defend us and take down the bad actors. So, God bless you all. Thanks for being here. Have a wonderful night, wonderful week, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, technically speaking, for Monday Night Law. All right? Don't forget, Thursday nights,